guys, how y'all doing in there? Hope everybody's doing good. Yeah, we had a pretty sizable. Well, first off, guys, before we get into this, can you guys give me a sound check real quick? I'm still trying to make sure I get my sound right here. My new little bit. I got a little different, like a. It's a laptop holder, kind of like a tray. So I just want to make sure everybody's got all good. Okay, cool. Want to make sure. I'm actually in the process of getting one that has a fan in it so it doesn't, burn up my laptop. Believe it or not, guys, running all these things in the background, oh my gosh, it will put your computer to work. Hey, Bonnie and Soul, ain't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. Candace, Tab, Mighty Mark is in the house. Yeah, guys, well, what's up, Dillard? Yeah, I haven't been really feeling all that well today, so I just kind of really wasn't even going to do one until this morning. So when I seen the volcano pop off, I figured, well, I'll just go ahead and put a show together, and we will see what we get, and then we'll go from there, So obviously, guys, we've had a decent size volcanic blast, and that is what it is, and there's not much we can do, but yeah. So yeah. Hey, Tom, how you doing, bud? Oh yeah, it showed up, man. I got you, bud. We're good. Hey, I'm doing okay. Even with love, sometimes, guys, we're not always gonna feel 100%. Just so you guys know, I think most of us kind of realize that. But just let me put it to you this way, Tom. Can you imagine how it would have felt if you hadn't done that for me? Be a lot worse, wouldn't it? Be a lot worse, that's for sure. So yeah. Yeah, let me address that real quick. Komagata, and I'm not going to go too far with this. I would just say that when you talk to people and you say that it's fake, and you're talking to people that have family members that are now sick and have comorbidities like myself, and my father is really sick right now. I just have to frankly say that I don't give two craps what you think about that. You can kick rocks and go on down the road with those kinds of disrespectful comments, because there's people that have lost lives over this. Now, I've always said that it's not what they say it is, but I guarantee you all of it is not fake. You want to say it's propagated, you want to say it's blown out of proportion, I'm on the same side of the fence with you. But don't come in here calling that kind of crap fake. That's a direct disrespectful comment to everybody here that has had it, or everybody here that has family members that are very sick with it. Kick rocks, have fun. Back at you, Mark. Glad you're here, man. So yeah, guys, we've had this flare. So we'll just, we're gonna let that drop. We're not gonna talk about that no more, okay? Sorry, guys. When my dad's sick and somebody wants to come up in my live chat, and then everybody knows that my dad's sick. That's the thing. And come up in here and try to say that whole thing is fake. I do think it's propagated. I do think it's one big part of all the big plan. I think all of that. But I am not going to allow somebody to come without at least somebody saying something back to them. Again, he doesn't need to be kicked or nothing for that. He's allowed to have his opinion, but so am I. And that's what I just gave. So, there it is. Anyway, you got the Schumann here, guys. yeah, there's not much going on with it. Now we got a couple spikes. Now I do find it interesting that see this spike here and this spike here, because my brain kind of goes to patterns a lot, and that's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this, and if we go back another day, these are all happening very close to the same time each day. Now that could have something to do with the relationship of the sun being in the same spot on the earth every day. Thanks, man. Appreciate that, Mark. But, with that, when we see those kinds of patterns, we really should take a look, because a lot of times it does have something to do with the location of our rotation in space. Okay, we could have like planetary alignments that are actually hitting in the same spot each time we're rotating, those kinds of things. And that does kind of affect our frequency sometimes. Now, there's a lot of theories about our solar system in general. What used to be a star, what is a star, why are certain planets doing this and doing that. You can go all the way back into all the hieroglyphs and all the the ancient teachings and symbolisms and how they all looked at the sky and all that kind of stuff. And you can really get deep into some stuff, and a lot of things do make sense, even just looking at historic data. And we got to put our mindset in the mindset of where they were at back then. Much like when you read the Bible, you have to actually pull yourself out of our current technological position and pull yourself back to where they were at. And then kind of look at things. And the meanings of words become completely different to what we actually think. Because, when we read something, we automatically, our brain just says, hey, they're speaking to us as if they're, as if we're talking to them face to face. The people that, the authors of any book that you read. And, most of the time that's not the case. Unless you're buying new books, obviously. But if you go back to any kind of historic anything, you really got to pull yourself out of your modern day thinking and pull yourself back. Just so you get a good idea what that author is actually trying to convey. And also, guys, you have to understand that there's a lot of things that get lost in translation. There's a lot of things that get lost in what I call the telephone game. If you guys remember playing that as a kid, that's where you say something at the beginning to your person next to you, and by the time, and they keep repeating that, and they whisper it, right? And by the time it gets to the end, the person says what they thought they heard, and sometimes it's a completely different thing. So what makes us think that when we say things and we see things and we read things, that ain't what's happening with what we're reading historically? They didn't have the data collection that we have now. The ability to actually put it somewhere at a data point. They had to write the stuff down, and in some cases they didn't even have that. They were, like etching it on rocks and stuff. So, anyway, we will keep moving. So, yeah, Rebel, you make a good point there, bud. Like I said, there are people that are getting sick with this. And like I said, my dad is. And, it's hitting him pretty hard. And, but those of us that are typically fairly healthy, I don't think that that's really going to bother us too much. I get that, and I get the percentage is like really, really low at the people that have the big deals. But there are people out there that are. And when old boy said that earlier here in the chat, I can't handle that. It's hard for me to handle. Not that only it disrespected me, but I guarantee you there's other people here in the chat that have lost family members to this. If you want to give your opinion, do it in a different way than that. Unless you want me to come at you. I'm going to come at you every time if you do that. Even if my dad wasn't sick. I understand that there's people out there that have family members that have been sick. That's just a fact. So, anyway, before I show you that's actually the flare. Okay? Actually, I'll show it to you real quick. Okay? So, we get this big flare, right? And it hits right here. Now, I don't want to call it big. It's like a moderate flare. It's not huge. You guys see this right here. I mean, it's on the bigger side of what we've been seeing, but this stuff's on an uptick, right? But it happens right here. Well, the volcano was right here. Okay, and if I take you, this is like, what you're looking at here is like 2 hours before the volcano erupted. So watch what happens as this energy, just picture what's going on here. The flare hits, the X-rays hit, right? It ionizes our atmosphere. And watch how long it takes for it to dissipate. It really never does. You see that? Matter of fact, what it's doing, if you see it, like right here, we go from like a big spike, and then it does this, like it's dying off, and then look what happens after this. We get a smaller one that happened after that, and what's happened is our rotations went this way, so this one is even more centered where that volcano was. So that energy just is getting, into our system. It never completely shuts off right there. You see that? So what I'm talking about is, and this whole plate tectonically is moving right now. So I'm not saying that this flare actually caused it. I'm saying it just helped. That's all I'm saying. It's kind of hard to deny it when you see these kinds of things happen right before big events. And I've been showing you guys that quite often lately. These things are lining up. When they line up like that, it's hard to say it's a coincidence. Okay? Because like I said, the volcano's right here. Now, let me, I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll just talk about this now before we get into the space weather. I'm going to go ahead, well, let's do this. Let's just shorten that up a little bit so I can keep you guys over here with me, okay? I should do that anyway. Guys, people have asked me why I don't just put that in my OBS and keep the chat up there. Well, there's a reason I don't. And the reason being is that sometimes I need to move it out of the way. And if I leave it there, I don't want to have to completely click it off. So I just pin it. And I will be changing that once I get a second monitor. When I get a second monitor going, I'll have the chat on another monitor. That way it's not even right here. That way it's out of the way. So anyway, oh, by the way, Tom, hope you're doing good too, bud. I've been praying for you and your loss too, man. Okay. Hey, Sharon, Candace, what's up? Yeah, I like the fiddle too. You're right, Candace. You see my mouse never stops moving? I'm sorry if that annoys people. I really, truly try not to do that. But, like she said, I fidget. So, if you're looking at this, guys, you're seeing this, right? Hey, Jerry, what's up? Emperor Rex, Russ. Hate not to say hi to you guys. There's a 5-1 there, right? But what I want you guys to look at is this, like I said, this volcano happened right about here where this one was. Okay? Now this one was like hours before, okay? But that does show, if you look at this whole plate around here, you guys see all the activity? This whole plate has been moving. Ron Tyler was talking about that, so was Dutch. And they've been talking about the VLF. And what that is I learned this from Ricky. And she's one of our mods. Very intelligent. The VLF is very low frequency. And that's a precursor to seismic activity. And that's why a lot of these guys have been talking about this plate moving, because they're seeing that kind of stuff. And it's not just here, it's actually, everything is moving right now, guys. It's amazing what we're seeing. And, this is not going to slow down anytime soon. We may have lull periods and all that, but it's like they're finding their new home. That's how I look at it. Now, I've not heard anybody say that, but it's like that's what's happening. And if you think about it, guys, like I said this before, maybe I haven't said it here on my channel. I know I say it all the time to my kids. If you look at most of us already know this, if you look at the continents, and especially if you look at the plate boundaries here, these fault lines, right? You can put them together like a puzzle. So what's that mean? most likely what that means, at some point, everything was one big landmass. And it had to spread out somehow. How? Well, how do you think? Big, huge earthquakes, big, huge volcanoes, other catastrophic kind of events. Thank God we weren't here for that one. But that's what you're seeing, right? So if we forget that these all the continents and stuff kind of fit together like a puzzle. I mean, look at this. I mean, come on. If you're going across the whole ocean, like when you look at South America here, how can you not just take this and stick it right here and it fits? I mean, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So we'll leave that at that. But anyway, we are getting some activity here in Alaska. Also, as of note, I want you guys to look right here. You see this? That's France. Let me pull it in here. You guys see any earthquakes there? You don't, do you? Well, there was some. Dutch was showing them. Now, I'm not saying that this is like a USGS thing. What I'm saying is this actually, the other agencies, the European agencies, kind of reporting this stuff in, I think. And I'm not sure if USGS actually has access to any of that. I thought that they kind of shared information a lot. I could be wrong on that, and I very much could be. Now, I will say this. I do know that the European agency doesn't usually downgrade them as often as USGS does. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. They may not be allowed to, post their data here without some sort of permission. But there was it was like a 3.9, like a 3.3 up here, and then it went on up into here. You could see the things traveling, the pressure moving. Okay, but we did have one here in Iran just like 2 hours ago. That was a 4.9. So we got, stuff happening in places we don't typically see earthquakes. And we got, volcanic eruptions happening in a volcano that has been dormant for a very long time until yesterday. And what do I mean by yesterday? Let me show you. This is an article. Guys, go check these guys out. It was posted by Julie Celestial. I'll leave a link to this. But this is yesterday. This thing hasn't erupted at all since 2012. Now, you got to understand, active volcanoes, they continuously erupt most of the time. At least little ones. Now, this isn't, we would all consider this little, but when I say little, I'm talking like sometimes you don't even see all this stuff. It's just magma kind of flowing out. Kind of like what we see in Hawaii, where the magma is always flowing out. Especially there on the Big Island, that's how the island really got its size. So that's really what's going on there. But, they posted this yesterday. Look, 27th, and then we get this. Okay, that right there is a 50,000 foot blast. We're not going to get too much data on this because of the location of it. This is the only video I can find on it right now. There may be some more out there now, but because of the remote location of this place, we're probably not going to have a whole lot of eyes on it. I think we're lucky to even have this one. This one was actually over on Twitter, and it's like a 12-second long video or something, maybe a little bit longer. Let's see here. Yeah, like 11 seconds. But yeah, so I mean, so you guys see that now? That's I mean that's definitely a decent sized blast. So what's that compute to, as far as, like, if we're going to talk kilometers or kilometers or miles? I think that one there, let me look at it real quick. I think it was, like, equal to 15 kilometers high. So, if you convert that to miles, let's see here. Let me do it real quick here on my phone and I'll give it to you guys. That way, kind of, okay, it's about 9.5 miles high. So if you want to look at it in the form of miles, it's about 9.5, and if you look at it in kilometers, it's about 15. I think is what I said. Yeah, about 15. Okay, so that's just a rough estimate there of how high that went. Now that's significant because that's how they kind of gauge these things. And so let me show you this. I've been doing a little bit of research on this stuff, and this is the stuff that I'm finding. Get you guys. Ooh, what the heck happened there? Let's do that. There we go. So what this is doing is it's showing you as these things step up and how often these things should be taken, how often we should be looking at this. Now look, this one here was only 5 kilometers high back in 2014, and it says that was the deadliest eruption in Japan since 1902. Mount Ontake. Now, the lives lost is going to be dependent on the location of it as far as how populated the area is. Okay? That's going to have a big impact on what we see. But as you see this, we can go down to here to Stromboli. Most of us have heard that. Most of us have eaten one. Just kidding. But no, that's where that name comes from, actually. I believe it's over in Italy. So yeah, it's been erupting continuously since the Roman times. All right, that's what this says. And again, guys, let me tell you something. Those little eruptions or continuous eruptions are actually very healthy for us. Those are really what keeps a lot of the volcanoes and a lot of the earthquakes from popping off, because it's a constant release of pressure. And I know this is going to be kind of a disgusting, example, but just picture yourself if you guys were to eat like a big old bowl of beans and a big old thing of eggs all at the same time, and then not be able to pass gas afterwards. Yeah, like a burp, Candace. Exactly. This is what that would be. And then when we get to the big ones, maybe we went and had Montezuma's revenge down in, Mexico somewhere. And that's where the big one comes from. Everything just kind of builds and all of a sudden, bam, it just blows, right? And that's what we see. I probably really don't need to give that kind of an example because most of us already understand this. But as we move on through here, it's going to show us more and more. I'm just going to kind of get this up here. I find it interesting to see the likelihood of how many times this happens. So we're seeing this, and if we keep going up, obviously it's going to get deadlier and deadlier because things are getting bigger and bigger. Now I'm going to pause it right there on that one because look, that was 15 kilometers high. Yeah, silent but deadly. Luatolo, yes. Sorry, thank you, Tab. I should have said that. I apologize. I did not even give you the name of the volcano. It's Luatolo. Thank you, Tab. But this was the city of Pompeii. Most of us have read this in our history books. Okay? That's the one that was buried in a thing of ash. Now, listen, just because we get these ones and we kind of gauge it on how high the plume is, it doesn't mean that, like when St. Helens erupted, it had a lot of side eruption. Okay? It didn't go straight up like most of us think of when we see volcanoes. It actually blew the side of the volcano out. And it still went high. Most of us remember that well. Most, I don't think I'm not sure how, if I can't remember what year St. Helens was even erupted. Let's see if it might be on here. There it is, 1980. So I was 5. So I don't remember it being talked about. But, as I went along in school, most of us heard about this. Right? I know people lost their lives, but it was nowhere near like what people lost their lives here. Because, we had different things that we could see and do. We had seismographs going at this time. So, it cost the United States dollar $2 billion in damages back in 1980, guys. We're talking 40 years ago. Yeah, Simone. You had Ash in northern Alberta on that. I mean, this stuff. This is what we're talking about, guys. And I'm showing you this because both of these eruptions were 15 kilometers. The same height of what we're talking about right now. So let me pause that again. I'll just grab the timestamp here and move it. Okay, so then we just keep going up. A VEI 5, VEI 6. This is this is the rating that they use when you're talking about, the power of a volcano and where they fall and a VEI 6, colossal, once every 100 years. Guys, we haven't been here for any kind of colossal anything. This one happened in 1991, but most of us don't remember anything after that as far as that big. So this here kind of erases that, So we could be expecting another one before 2091 is what they're saying, roughly about. Now, remember, it's really about location with these guys if we're going to talk about mass scale stuff, because that's really where it lies at that point. Nova Rupta eruption, 1912. That was a VEI 6 also. It was the largest eruption of the 20th century. The Krakatoa. A lot of us have talked about this. Again, remember, these are all basically the same rating. But it matters how much of the mountain the mountain of the volcano got blowed off. It matters how much stuff flew out, where it flew out at what time. All of that matters. That's why when we're talking about global stuff, if you guys see this, look at this. Look what this one did that a lot of these other ones didn't. This one had a 40-meter high tsunami. Okay? 200 TNT explosion created. I mean, come on. That's huge. I mean, that should make people wake up and be like, what? And get this. It dropped the global temperature by 3 degrees Celsius. And if you guys don't understand the seriousness of that, 3 degrees Celsius is an average globally. I can't imagine what that would have been. I mean, the global changes we experienced after that, I'm sure were pretty substantial. Now, obviously, everything probably went back to more of a normal state as things started to go back. Some of that stuff in the atmosphere went away. Things would, go back to kind of a normal thing. But then we get this one. It says 1/3 of the Sea of Japan is covered by ash. That was in 946 AD. Now you wonder how they know that. But obviously it could be part of a model or anything. It could be something like that. I'm sure, again, they have historic data on this, but who wrote it down? How were they able to know this back that far? That all comes into question. Okay, deadliest eruption in modern history. Tambora, 1815. 80,000 people died. Now, when we're talking about this right here, 80,000 people dying in 1815, we really have to go back to the global population of 1815. Because the percentage that would be there versus global population, this number would be way bigger today, because the global population is as big as it's ever been, obviously, right? So, yeah, what is it, 7.5 billion people or something like that now? I can't remember exactly the global population. But back in 1815, it was not even close to that. Then you get this one. These kinds of eruptions every 2,000 years. Now, again, these are roughly about the same kind of thing. Now, look at this. You guys see this? The Tambora eruption? 0.5 kilometers. So, it says the whole volcano exploded. So I don't know exactly what that actually looked like. Was it underwater? What was going on with that? So it says right here, 1816 is known as the year without summer. I remember reading about that when I was a kid. So that's what you got when you're looking at all these, volcanoes. And a lot of us have seen this stuff before, but we need refreshers on this because I didn't remember any of this stuff. Until I started looking at it again. This one, Tupa Supa eruption. Again, when we're talking about 26,500 BC, guys, obviously this is something that was based off of data collected way after the fact. Maybe they're going and looking at layers of the geology and all that kind of stuff. But, you wonder how accurate that is. There's a lot of people don't even think the Earth's even that old. So, that could be, and I don't get on people when you talk about young Earth or old Earth and all that kind of stuff. I just roll with it, guys. There's a lot of evidence that supports the other. If you're a Bible believing person, there's stuff that supports both sides of it. So that's what I always say. And I don't argue about either side because I can't. The fact of the matter is, none of us were here. So we can't really say it's 100% either direction. But we do have good science to look at, and then that's how you make your decision on those kinds of things. Again, this is a VEI 8. These are pretty, says explosions, 5,000 times more powerful than the Zarbamba earthquake, which would have been, it wasn't up here. I don't know what that is, but anyway, I thought you guys would, hey J-Love, I thought you guys would be interested in seeing that because, it's definitely was interesting to me when I started looking at that info, okay? Hopefully you guys got something out of that and, kind of puts in perspective that, we are very fragile. Things are usually on some sort of a cycle. When we start talking about odds of these things happening, we would not be, doing ourselves any good unless we did take in consideration the last time things happened. If there is a time pattern to these things. There are so many things that are part of the equation of this. And I'm not kidding. I mean, it really is. Hey, 11. How you doing? I just kind of started. We had a volcanic eruption in Indonesia. I'll show it to you guys again real quick. This one here. About 15 kilometers high. About 50,000 feet. Which is close to 10 miles high. It's roughly what it is. So there's that. Now listen, guys. Again, this happened in an area where even Dutch was actually warning people of this area, not for this, but for seismic activity. This is seismic activity. I hope you guys understand that. This is 100% seismic activity. Oh, and the ice core studies? Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Thanks, Tom. Hey, Sid. What's up, bud? Seeking truth. Hey, hey. Yeah, it's going to 3 a.m. for me here, too. I'm on Eastern time. But yeah, so, guys, this is significant, okay? Especially when you're talking about a volcano that just started erupting again since 2012. Yesterday, I had a small little release, and I showed that to you guys just a few minutes ago. Let me, I'll pull that back up to again real quick. This is what it was yesterday. You see how kind of just small, but it was noteworthy because this one hadn't done anything since 2012. And this thing is surrounded on all three sides of water. And that's why, people were like, well, is it a volcanic or a tsunami risk? It wasn't, pretty much, because this was not in that position to cause something like that. Now, I was watching Dutch when he was talking about this, and he said there were a few buoys in the area that were live, which just means that there are buoys in the area to detect things. They were not in any kind of event mode. That's significant because that's really what lets us know if we need to be paying attention to tsunamis. If the buoys start jumping around, chances are we need to start jumping around. That's just what it is, guys. Not a whole other way to say it. I'm live. What? Okay. Take some medicine. Anyway, guys, that's real life. My daughter's not feeling good. She's got a fever. Told her to take some medicine. So, yeah. Anyway, guys. Hey, baby girl, can you give me a Coke? How high is it, Avery? Okay. Anyway, we will move on. Let's go back to space weather for a second. Okay, so there's that flare. Now, okay, guys. Obviously, this thing, we've been getting flares off and on for a while. This was a C-class flare. It got probably about a C4, maybe a C5. We'll have to wait and see where that comes in at. Our geomagnetism. No biggie. Love you. You guys understand I got real life, right? I got a baby girl that I got to take care of before any of this crap. Just so you know. Your son's sick too? Uh-oh. There you go, Reese. I like that. I like that. Thanks, Simone. Appreciate it. Guys, I pray for you guys every day, even if I don't know exactly who you are. I pray for my subscribers every day. I think it's important that we do. I really do. But anyway, we get this going on right here. This is definitely what's happening. I want to let you guys know, too, I'm going to show you the Enlil map here in a minute, graph. And we're going to have to, well, I'll talk about it when we get there. Anyway, solar wind speed. Okay, it's kind of dropped down into nominal range. Very, very normal. Temperature, seeing it jumping around. It's tanking. Okay, basically, it's going down. And then we got density. It's just kind of going to a normal range here. And this is what I'm saying, guys. This is, it's normal until here. Now, 10 is not that high. Okay, it's higher. It's higher than like a normal range, what I would consider quiet conditions. But it's not real low either. So, but this graph is showing 1 to 100. So that means that it's probably trying, it thinks maybe it's seeing something that is kind of that high. I don't know why. I'm not seeing any kind of data point unless I'm just missing it. But it's hanging right around 10 right now. Now, this is the typical blackout time of the day for the satellite. We know that. That happens every day. You see this right here? The fly angle. I think that it probably had a polarity flip there. So, guys, this thing can kind of like flip multiple times a day if it wants to. So, each time it does, it'll give us a little jolt on our geomagnetism. Just pulls on us magnetically a little bit. That's it. But anyway, with that being said, sometimes if we're having events going on at the same time as this, that can really like push us over the edge, and we'll get some pretty good geomagnetic activity because of that. But the BZ, it's hanging in the negative. Okay. This range, remember yesterday, this was only 0 to 5, so they've had to extend it out to 10. Now, once it starts getting around 10, that's when we can really get some, really, really significant energy from the sun. Is, you know, it's susceptible for us to just draw that in because of the angle. That's what this is showing you. It's the angle of how it comes in. And when it's in the negative, that's what it makes it want to come in. Now, the angle of it's right for it to come in. Now, if it's in the positive, it's actually the opposite. So the red here is what we look at, and it's below. So we're in the negative there. Now, here's the Enlil model again, guys. I'm going to put the chat away for a second. Oh, somebody said something to me. Sorry. Hey, Mark. Who's the one? I don't know, man. How dare you? You can pay your respects to this Enlil model, punk. No, I'm just kidding. Just having some fun. Anyway. You got this going on. And listen, this is where we're at in time. So here in about 2.5 days, we're going to be to the height of this density event. Right? That puts this, that's what this model is trying to show you. So it puts us right here. And let me tell you guys, the significance of density has become more and more evident. And that's right, Letty. Got to pay that respects to the Enlil model. Pay your respects to the space weather. Body and soul. Anyway, you got this going on right here. And this will be more significant now than what it has been because we understand that now. I was saying that for like 1.5 years, almost 2 years, since the beginning of my channel pretty much, that I thought density should have just as much of an effect on our geomagnetism as the speed, if not more, because basically it's heavier if you really want to think of it in that way. It's like if you take a baseball and you throw it at somebody going 5 miles an hour and you hit them. Yeah, it's going to sting, right? Well, what if you take a bowling ball after that and you throw it at 5 miles an hour at them? Which one's going to hurt worse? The bowling ball is. Okay? So that's how you have to look at this. Now, let me explain it to you this way, too. What if you take that same baseball and you throw it at somebody at 5 miles an hour, right? And you hit them. And it hits them however hard, right? Well, if you take a bowling ball after that and you throw it at 3 miles an hour and you hit them, which one's going to hurt worse? That we would have to do some math to figure that out, but it's probably going to level out to close to the same. You see what I'm getting at there? So even though the speed might be lower, the density matters, and it matters big time. And they're now doing studies and papers and stuff on this, peer-reviewed stuff, confirming what I just said. So looking at the density is very, very important. And that's another reason why that they've always had it here, because they know it has an effect. But, we can have events outside of high solar wind speed just on the fact that the density is high. The wind speed does not have to be high for us to get hit. Killing me, Mark. Killing me, man. Oh, man. Yeah. They're going to have to kiss Aunt Judy's ring next time they see her. Anyway. Okay, so we're going down here. Now, again, guys, this is the Aurora model. And it's going to show us what was going on, geomagnetically. And that's what we got. And right on the end, you see what happens. It's because we're getting energy, right? And you can see how it's coming down to let's just do that. The border of the United States is getting down closer to what we call mid-latitudes, which is kind of here. See the latitude line here? When we're talking about high latitude, we're talking about up here, We always see aurora there. Anytime that there's going to be aurora, you're going to see it here first, obviously. Okay? Now remember, we have cracks in our magnetic field. And sometimes, if we get hit in the right spot, we'll see auroras in places that we really typically wouldn't. Just because of the cracks in that field. And it gets the solar wind or the charged particles get through, and they interact with the molecules, the oxygen molecules there, where the crack is. Wherever that crack's at. You know, it could be here. I mean, it could be anywhere, really. Now, if you're going to talk about mass aurora events, it would take a huge geomagnetic storm to see, like, aurora down on the equator. Alright? And it's because of the tilt of the Earth. That's why. That's why that changes, and that's why that matters. Now, also here, guys, this is also a good way if you ever want to show somebody the difference between geographic north and magnetic north. Bring them over here to this model. This is a really good way to show, because this right here, where my cursor is, that's geographic North Pole. See where all the lines are coming in, right? We know that. That's the, you know, where people think about the candy cane pole up there, sticking there, the barbershop pole, right? Where Santa Claus lives. That kind of thing. But if this is not in the center of this aurora, right? So if you follow that, you're going to get a better idea of where, you know, what's happening here. It's not, you know, this does show magnetics fairly well. Now, this isn't going to show you where magnetic north is. This will just help explain that our magnetics are not based off of geographic north. So, that's, yeah. Get some sleep, brother. Hey, man, we'll see you. Man, that's impressive, I just gotta say. You know, obviously, me and the Wages family has been with you since, I can't remember what episode, but it's been a while now. Over 100 days, I think. Hey, Nibby, what's up? Simone. But again, let me say this again. I don't want anybody to get confused on this. This is not showing magnetic north. Okay? This is just I'm just trying to show you the difference that geographic north is different than where magnetic north is. And this is actually evidence of that, because if it was perfectly right on the North Pole, magnetics was, these things would not fluctuate at all. It wouldn't lopside or anything like that. You would be able to find the center pretty close, right? So, you know, that's what I would say. I would just use it as that. You know, if you really want to give somebody a good visual, if you're trying to explain that to them. But again, guys, this flare, you know, it's a decent sized flare. It's not huge, just moderate, that kind of thing. But it did happen in the same area just a couple hours before that volcano blasted. So, but there's also, again, guys, there's been a lot of plate movement been going on. Dutch has been talking about it a lot. Ron's been talking about it a lot. Ricky's been in here talking about it a lot. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand that. I'm not saying that this flare caused this volcanic blast. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that it could have had an impact on why it went ahead and erupted now. Just, you know, maybe it was enough to push things around and finally it just blew. I don't know. But you can watch this, how the ionization of our atmosphere, it just stays ionized, and then we get a little smaller one right there after the big one. And it's all right in that same area, and it seems as though this energy is staying kind of right on top of where that volcano blasted right here. You know. So, again, you know, it's just something that may have added to the fact that that stuff was happening. So don't get it twisted thinking I'm saying that the solar flare actually caused that thing to pop off. That solar flare was not even close big enough to cause anything like that, but it was definitely big enough to add stuff to an already existing issue going on with the plate movement. This is the magnetosphere models. The sun's off to the left on this one. Okay. This is the newer of the magnetopause models that we have access to here. And you're going to see it's probably not doing a whole lot right now because judging from the ACE data back here, things really aren't moving around right now. Things are very, very normal, very, very nominal. But again, remember, the Enlil model's predicting a change to that. Okay? So we'll have to wait and see if that materializes. But, you know, we're still getting small little hits here. Nothing real big though. Now the density, you know, you can see again, we're probably, you know, given what I showed you guys on the Enlil model, if we do get a density event, you're going to see this particular graph here, this model here, it may turn all blue. I've seen that happen before. And what that means is, it just means that we're having a lot of high dense materials hit. Hey J-Man, what's up, bud? Hope you're doing good. Ricky's in here, that's right. Skywalker, oh yeah, you're in Australia, aren't you, Kim? You guys are having heat waves, guys. They're having another heat wave down there. They've been having it bad for the past few years, guys, with the heat wave stuff. Crazy. I'm talking crazy heat. A lot of bad fires, too. You know, guys, we're experiencing that here, too. During the times when we're supposed to be experiencing it. You know, and guys, the tilt of us and magnetics and stuff, when we're looking at the pressure here, that's a lot of the reason why we see what looks to be like directional stuff. We're still getting stuff from the sun, okay? But because our magnetics are kind of tilted a little bit right now, you can see where the brunt of it's hitting. Now, this, again, guys, I have to say, this backside pressure isn't something that's crazy to see because we see it all the time. There's a lot of data on why that happens. There are also a lot of theories on, you know, alternative reasons why that happens. I find it interesting that, you know, we can get more backside pressure than what we're getting in the front. It does seem a little odd to me. That's all. And we see that quite often. So if we're looking at this, you know, we can kind of see, you know, I mean, you can't really look at this and say that this thing ain't angled at some level. You know what I mean? So yeah. I actually haven't updated this yet. I don't think, did I? Let me update this one real quick, and we'll take a look at this. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time showing you the sun right here. I will show you some, but we may see if we can't catch that, flare. Let me go to the 131. Guys, if you're ever looking at this stuff, I find that it's easier to see flares typically on this 131 angstrom. Just my opinion. I see things here easier than what I do on the other ones when I'm talking about flares. I was back yesterday. What the heck that's there for? Let's get rid of that. Let's update that one. Alright. So I'm just going to grab the slide bar here and see if we can't see it. Looks like right now, as we're sitting here talking, look right here. That might be a flare getting ready to happen right there. Might be popping off right as we're watching this. That looks pretty bright. We don't usually see that kind of a brightness unless it's flaring. Wow. Okay. Unless it's just transferring energy along that connection line there. Okay. We'll have to wait and see. It almost looks like that. If you look at that filament there, well, it's a magnetic connection there. It may be getting ready to release. We'll have to wait and see. It does look like it's moving that way, but I've seen them stretch out and not snap. If it doesn't snap, it means that it wouldn't be an ejection at that point. It would just be a movement. It wouldn't be doing much of anything. But that does look kind of bright, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We may be in the realm of having some sort of a CME a little bit there, maybe, or just a flare, possibly. That was probably the flare. What time was that? Watch right in here. See that? It might have been. I'm not sure. Let me take this back a little again. Oh. Okay. Right here. See that? That's when the flare happened. And that is from that bigger sunspot. And remember yesterday, guys, I was explaining to you guys that it started having other little sunspots develop behind it. And when that happens, they can interact with each other, and that's really one of the precursors that we look for. Because if you just got a sunspot sitting there on its own, a lot of times it won't do hardly anything. It's got to interact, the polarity of it has to interact with something to cause that stuff to pop off. Okay? Now, that was actually one that happened before. There's another one. See, we've been having like little ones, guys. Remember, that's what I was saying. Look right here. See that? Actually, it looked like there was one there. Probably not. So right there. That's the flare. Okay? That's the one that was the biggest of the ones I was showing you guys. So, see you, Christine. Thanks for stopping in. That's right, Tom. I get that all the time when I was a kid. Wages World, party on. And I'd always get the Marky Mark, and the Funky Bunch. Mark Wahlberg. DRUG free. Ain't that the song? Just saying. That's what the song was. So, yeah. So there's your sun. Again, it's not big flares, but it is enough that can be adding stuff to what's going on. And that was the one that happened the other day that went, that CME right there. And that was not coming at us, not even close. It was just firing off almost 90 degrees, really. Directly off to that way. Yeah, thanks, Nibby. Appreciate that. You was a mod, Whitetail? What happened? I didn't knock you off there. Here. There you go. I've seen you in here a lot. I didn't know you was a mod. Unless you're talking about something else, but if not, you got a wrench anyway. There you go. Thanks for being here. Also, guys, Libby was saying about the 3.1. That right there is right before that. That I think that's the solar flare I just showed you guys. That's what it looks to be. Let's take it to that timestamp. Yeah. See the timestamp here, 23. That's about right there when it happened. So, yeah. That would definitely, it falls in with what I showed everybody here on this one. Take it back to 23 here. Right there. Remember, it takes about 8 minutes to get here. So, that's why you're seeing that kind of delayed reaction. Also, guys, go back in my, if you guys want to know more about Stereo A, Nibby put some good information in my chat yesterday, or my comment section, about how when they launched Stereo A and how it's migrating closer to us. He said some stuff there I didn't know about how long the really I what happened. I don't remember getting. I don't remember getting rid of any moderator. I'm sorry, Whitetail. I really don't. I don't think I've ever booted a moderator for any reason, unless they asked me to take the wrench. I've had that happen once. But anyway, the Stereo A information, yeah. That's definitely something that, okay. I believe you. No, I'm just, it must have been a click or something on an accident. I've never had any issue with you, Whitetail, at all, ever. Yeah, okay, sorry. I am. That bothers me when that stuff happens. That's the first I've seen about it, sorry. Blue Kool-Aid days. Okay. Yeah. I don't think I ever did any live streams back then. I could have done one or two, I guess, if I remember. But yeah. So let's go to this. So this is the MagnetoPause models. Obviously, again, things are going to be pretty quiet. Geoelectrically, we'll look at this real quick. This is, again, space weather's effect on our electrical grid or unnatural electrical components, wires, transformers, that kind of thing. And you're going to see it's going to be doing a little bit of something because we were getting these issues happening. So, again, I look for this stuff to start upticking a little bit, because if we're to take the Enlow model serious, we're going to have to think about, the density increasing. And that's exactly what we see. Seeds. Okay. Now, I did see this too, guys. Let me back that up a little bit. On the 28th here, end of the day, there was a CME that popped off. It could be that flare, I guess. But this looks different than a flare. This looks like a CME to me. I'll show you. A flare moves faster than that, but the plasma, if it got drawn off like that, it would just following that flare. I guess that could be it. Either way, it does not look very significant, but we're going to have to wait to see the updated data. Okay, so if we go to the updated data on the 29th, we don't have anything yet, so we don't have nothing to look at. Well, maybe we do back here on ISWA. It does look like we've seen something there, but nothing big. So we'll just wait and see if we get any more data in on that one, okay? If we do, I'll bring it to you guys. I checked Stereo A too, and it's not showing anything either. Here's the CME tracker. Now remember, guys, this is just tracking the CMEs and stuff, but notice how we've got a lot of activity on this altogether. And the last time this thing updated was on the 26th, I think. And that what you're seeing there was a little bit of an ejection, not a big one at all. But it wouldn't even be having an effect on us anyway, because it's going way far away from us. That happened, I think. Let's look and see when that happened. Yeah, it started. If you look at the timestamp, it starts on the 26th. But that thing didn't look like it erupted till the 28th. Maybe that is showing the one that just happened. This usually doesn't do it like that, guys. Usually this one, it'll start like right before. It'll show you just like right before that ejection. Maybe that is. Maybe that's the one we just seen over there on Stereo A. I mean on Soho. Lasco C2. So if that's the case, that means the one I just showed you would not be affecting us whatsoever. But look over here. This is Earth's orbit stretched out in a straight line. So, you know, we could see this kind of energy coming our way. Again, remember this line here is the current sheath. All right, a lot of times when it crosses our IMF line, we will see a little bit of a bump on what's going on. Okay? Yeah, you're right, Ricky. We haven't seen a whole lot of that stuff for a while. I mean, and I've even seen, I'm not sure if you caught it, Ricky, but I showed, I might still have it here on my desktop. Nope, I took it off. There was one of the models, I think it was the Enzo model. It was actually showing black. Yeah, I think you're right, Nibby. I think that's what that is. It could have. I guess it could be that because it doesn't look like it. It's hard to tell because I can't slow this down, but it does look as though it erupted on the 28th at the end of the day there. So that could be it. So you know, again, it's not a big one anyway, guys. So it's really not much to worry about at all. It's not very big, and it's not coming our direction. So, take that for what it's worth. But this here, guys, is you know, there's that little bit of a distortion you see. That would be that little ejection. It's pretty far away from us. It's as far away from us as Stereo A is the other way. You can tell here. Yeah. I like that whitetail. Anyway, again, that white line is our current sheath, so, or the sun's current sheath. But just remember, you see how it's all kind of jagged? Usually it stays pretty consistently kind of arced. You can see it better here on the side view, how it gets contorted. And let me say this too, it's not completely unusual to see it do this when we see eruptions and stuff. Okay, that's just what I want to say. So don't freak out about that. It's not really that big of a deal, other than the fact that when it does, you know, cross our connection line, it will bump us a little bit. We see that a lot. Yeah, exactly, Douglas. As long as it's going the other way, let that sucker just bust on out. You know what I mean? Bust that sucker right on out of here. But, yeah, so there's that. Space weather, guys, they did go ahead and designate this other spot up here as a sunspot. So we now have 4 sunspots on the Earth-facing side of the sun. That's significant because we haven't seen that in quite some time. I think we may have bumped into that a little bit, like 3 or 4 days ago. We had a sunspot that was there. I think it was like there was like an active area here that they may have given it a number. I don't think they did though, because if you look at this, you got 2786 and you got 2787. So I don't think they gave that one a number. You got 2783, you're missing 2784. So wherever 2784, I think it was kind of in front of this one, believe it or not. I think this one here has been a sunspot since it was over here. 2784, when this one here was over here, 2784 was up here, I think. And it rotated off. So that's why you don't see a direct, sequential number to those. That's why you're missing 2784. It's no longer facing Earth, or it dissipated. That would be your only option. But you can see again, guys, I mean, our activity definitely is increasing. This is something we're not... Now remember, we got this penumbral solar eclipse too on the 30th. You know, I would encourage everybody, I'm not going to go into exactly what that is, but I would encourage you guys to go research that, because it's really, really interesting. They got an animation and stuff here. I'm not going to play it in hopes that you guys go give these guys some traffic. The spaceweather.com. You know, they do the work, they post the stuff, they deserve, you know, they deserve the traffic and the credit for that. And I appreciate these guys a lot. I really do. You know, I've never had any like personal conversation with this website, but I appreciate them. I hope they know that. Something else here, guys, that happened. You look here, this 0.9. I think they just added that one today. In this one too, the 0.5. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys. This is, you know, the 26. There were two ones here that came pretty close, within one lunar distance. Now, again, 1 lunar distance is still a pretty decent amount out there. Okay, they just consider that near Earth because of they're taking in the, you know, the vastness of space. So let's see if it was there on the 28th. I don't think it was there when I showed it to you guys last night. Okay, well, it was here on the 28th, which could have, you know, been after I did my video this, you know, yesterday morning. So let's go back to the 27th. And it's not there. Neither one of those were there. So all that means is they did not see it until, well, that would put it after, yeah, they didn't see it till almost 2 days after it passed us. Which, guys, that happens a lot. And I have to say this too, in their defense, it's a big sky. You know, like I said, Billy Bob Thornton said it best in Armageddon. You know, when he said, "Begging your pardon, Mr. President, it's a big-ass sky." I mean, that is the truth, okay? Not to mention that the money that they would need to try to map out everything so they don't miss nothing. Guys, we wouldn't even have a society probably. It would take every bit of all the money anybody had to do something like that. You know what I mean? So, cut them some slack on that one. You know what I mean? Give credit where credit's due, and that's definitely, you don't need to be, you know, getting on them about that, because that's that. And again, guys, let me take you back to present day here, and I want to point this out too, because this is something that I see people doing all the time, and they will take this. Let me show you. I haven't even looked around the internet right now, because it really makes me mad when I see stuff like what I'm getting ready to tell you. I bet you could go out there to a certain few channels, and I bet you there's somebody out there showing you guys this stuff, saying this is a huge deal. Okay? If it's a huge deal, let me tell you what I think would be a huge deal. If you would get a 0.1 lunar distance miss, okay? If we get that, and it's 490 diameters big, that's a big deal. Okay, but what are we getting here? We're getting a 0.9 and a 0.5 at 11 meters and 10 meters. Exactly, Ricky. That's a big asteroid, guys. That 490, that's sizable, guys. That's big. But look how far it's away from us. That's going to pass us. Well, what is? Yeah, it's passing us today. Now we got this 1.8 passing us, that just passed us, but it was only 6. And they added that one like the day before, or 2 days before. It wasn't there either. They didn't see this one till late. But when we see these ones that we miss, okay, think about this. usually they're going to miss small ones. For what reason? Because they're smaller. I mean, doesn't it make sense? So when you see somebody grab something and grab it and just run with it and just make it sound like it's, oh my gosh, we just dodged such a huge thing here, man. Oh Lord, you know, the sky is falling. Oh my gosh, please Lord, don't let that happen again. Oh my goodness, you know, all that kind of stuff. And you come here and you're like, whoa, yeah, maybe I need to go look at that. And then you come here and look at it, and it'll be 6 diameters big or 4 diameters big or something stupid like that. And you're like, really, man? That thing could have that could have been a zero. That could have been hitting us. It could have been in our atmosphere, and most of us wouldn't even have known it. That's what I'm trying to say. And I've been asked before, why do I get upset about that? Well, the fact of the matter is, guys, if you come out here every video and you start doing that kind of stuff, it's just like anything else that we do. It is, yeah, exactly. That 17 to 20 meters, that was a pretty decent, I think that one, didn't it blow up above the surface? I'm pretty sure it did. I'm not sure how fast, because the velocity matters too, guys. But yeah, so anything over, you know, I just don't think 6 is what I'm trying to say. You know, so it's stuff like, because it can cause damage, depends on what it's made out of too actually matters. There's a whole lot of things that matter. But my point is that unless you know that would have been catastrophic, why would you do that? Because the second that something is catastrophic that you really want people to see, you don't want to be the one that's been crying wolf. Okay. Is that fast or not? Just, I don't know. I don't really have a gauge on that in my mind there. 19.6 plus point. Okay. That does look that does look about on the faster end of things, isn't it? Kind of in the middle, maybe. Just by judging by this. Could be wrong. Or, 0.15 kilometers per second? Or is that 19? Huh. Yeah, I don't know if that's fast or not. Like I said, guys, you know, when you look at this stuff, I don't really know what the average is on on the speed. When I see the diameter at a 6 and people make a huge deal about it, I don't get it, you know? Because when you look on here and you see these other really, really big ones, I would imagine, okay, oh, wow, 60, okay. Huh. So yeah, guys, you got this going on here. So I don't know why people make a big deal about that. And, you know, number one, it didn't hit us. You know? Again, if it was a big one, like a real mega size one, and it missed us, and they didn't see it till it was 3 days past us or something stupid, by all means come out here and make a big deal about that, because that is a big deal. That could have been catastrophic for our planet. You know? And again, guys, I don't know. I'm sure there's technology out there where they can kind of see what these things are made out of just by different technologies that they have, how they're able to look at these things. You know, they probably go off of, I'm not sure, I'm just taking a wild guess here, probably off some of the gases that are being expelled behind it and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they could tell what it's made out of. They may even use the kind of light that's getting bounced off of it and what happens there. It might have a factor there too. But yeah, so that is what it is, you know. I just don't like to see people out there saying that, you know, the end of the world's tomorrow, and then it doesn't happen, and they come out tomorrow and say the end of the world's in 3 days. That doesn't happen. Then you come out and they just keep moving the day. It's just, and people, you know, and unfortunately people grab a hold of that, and then when something is serious, or when something really needs to be seriously out there, People won't even pay attention to it. And that's the danger of doing that. You know? That is the danger of fear mongering. It says, when we were kids, what do we talk about? Crying wolf, right? I mean, isn't that what it is? Just my opinion. Okay. That's a pretty good reference there. Yeah, that's that. Ricky, you touch on something there too. Um, you know, yeah, we would definitely have to research that out. Actually, that's something that I've been hearing that thrown around too. I'm not sure how much validity that has, but we'll have to go look at that. That would be something that would be interesting to look at the very least. I think we don't do ourselves any good unless we do at least look at things that people say. You know what I mean? Um, and then after we look at it, if we don't agree, we don't agree. But what happens is when we don't agree, people just want to get so mad at you. And you know what I say to them when they do that to me? Do you agree with everything I say? They're not going to. It's really a hard. I don't understand why we can't be adults. You know what I mean? And just accept that we're not all going to agree on things. Yes, we can be passionate. Be very passionate. I'm very passionate about some things too. You guys heard me get a little upset at the beginning of the show because of somebody was saying something about the global illness thing that my dad has right now, that he's not feeling good at all. He has issues regardless of having any of that. So don't come into my chat calling it fake. It may not. I'm on the side of with this when we talk about that global illness, that it is completely 100% blowed way out of proportion. My opinion, right? It's an opinion. I think that we're taking it way too far. I think that we should have never done what we're doing right now. But at the same time, it's not fake. You need to choose your vocabulary there a little different. You could come in here and say, man, yes, I'm sorry that your dad's sick with this or whatever, but, I don't think that this thing is really what they're saying it is. And you know what I would say? I agree. That's exactly what I would have said. It's funny that somebody wants to come in here and say that stuff's fake, but then they tuck tail and run, and don't give you any kind of whatever after that. No evidence, no links, nothing to show me what they're trying to say. Now, I've had people show me stuff, which I respect, okay? And I went and looked at their information, but I don't agree. There's a difference. I know that everybody's not going to agree with me all the time. Matter of fact, a lot of people disagree with me a lot. That's the nature of the genre of what I'm doing. I understand that that's going to happen. I just choose to handle it a little different than what most people do. Most people get upset, mad, start kicking people, all of that. I just try to put myself into the position that if I was in their chat room and I had a different opinion and I put it out there in a respectful way, and then I get booted, how I would feel. Thanks, Ashley. I really appreciate that. Thanks, guys. I really do. I really appreciate that. I really, truly try to give everybody their voice. I don't want to take that from anybody, even here on my channel. All my mods know, and most of my subscribers know that I give people, so much real estate here to say what they want that you're not going to find that on hardly any other channel. You're really not. Most people can't handle that kind of a scrutiny. You know what I mean? I just And so when people come here and say I'm doing it for this or doing it for that, I just don't even want to hear it. I let them say it, and I just keep moving. Most of the time, I don't even address it. But there are times, like early on in my live stream tonight, I felt like I needed to say that because I don't think I was the only one thinking it. I know that there's other people here in my chat right now that have had people get sick from this. And if you want to come in here and say that, because you're not only are you disrespecting me with my situation I'm having with my own personal family, but you're also disrespecting anybody else out here that has went through any of that. And think about this, even if it is 100% fake, we don't know that. So we're told that it was this, and then, somebody was to lose a loved one, like completely. Guys, just keep in mind, guys, this is how fragile we are. This great guy right here, Tom, just lost his father. And we need to be praying for him. We need to take that whole kind of BS conversation that we're talking about, and maybe we should focus on some positivity for this man. Some prayers. How about that? Instead of coming up in here, just getting on people. Just to get a reaction. And, and that's the only thing I don't like about what I did. Because he got what he wanted when I reacted to him. So, yeah, thanks, Dale. I really try. I mean, it definitely... Yeah, see, Scan Family here says it perfect, He says, hey, there is, articles out there talking from the doctors and things, and he says, look, this is where it's at. In Pyramus article. There you go. See, he's telling you where to go to look. He's not coming out here and just ramming it down people's throat. Nobody's going to listen anyway when people just hit people on the head with stuff like that. If you really truly want to help them because you think you're right, then you need to do it with kid gloves. And I hate to say it like that, but the fact of the matter is, the way our society is today, you have to. If you don't, they won't listen to you. Because it's as easy as this. It's a click. Click. You see what I'm saying? Then they don't have to listen to you no more. They're done. They're out. Yeah. See, Ashley, that's my goal for everything that I even say. I want everybody to go research everything that I say. Early on in my channel, I really didn't have the vetting capabilities or the knowledge on how to vet things as much as I do now. So I was wrong a lot more of the time. And I've been corrected by a lot of you guys in the chat. And when like I said, I've learned so much from that. And I've learned how to go do my little bit of what I call vetting or research or whatever you want to say it. But the only time that I did that is when it was brought to me in a respectful way. But just know that if anybody's just walking into this kind of a genre or this kind of a research or this kind of a topic, it's going to be a minute before you understand everything. No matter what side you fall on, it's going to take some time. And I try to give, especially new people, that kind of a time. And if I don't know who's in my chat or whatever, I don't know if they've been in it for a while or not. So when I address them, I address them as such, that they've never even heard any of this before. Now, you didn't miss much there, Jarrett. We got a volcano erupting. I'm just kidding. Sorry. Had to make a joke. Sorry. Yeah, I'll show it to you real quick, Jarrett. I think you were in here earlier. Did you bounce out and bounce back in? Yeah, exactly, Whitetail. Let me show this to you. If you missed it, Jared, I'll show it to you here real quick. It wouldn't be 2020. Good one, Jarrett. Unless we had something, right? Look at that. Wow. It still amazes me when I see stuff like this. It just makes you realize how can I say this? Makes you realize how insignificant we can feel or be. You know what I mean? Because none of us could ever do anything to stop or help this kind of a situation. The only thing we could do is share this kind of stuff. Yeah, it was 50 kilometers high. I'm sorry, 50,000 feet high, roughly about 15 kilometers, which translates to about 9.5 miles. Yeah, you make a good point there, Zyla, and you too, Julie. You see what they're doing? They come in here respectful. They're adding their opinion in there, and they're giving us some data to look at and stuff to see and hear. They're not just coming in here saying, like earlier, he popped in here and said, "Oh, that's all fake," and then left. I mean, I understand that was a drive-by troll. I get that. All right? Any of us that runs channels, we know this crap's going to happen. I mean, seriously. And, but yeah. But just to give you guys a little bit of a understanding here on this too, and I'm going to do this real quick, guys. I'm not going to go through this whole thing again. But for those of you guys that just popped up here, what this is, guys, this is it shows you the size and how often volcanoes are supposed to happen and how big they are. We can go through this real quick. This is the rating system, VEI. I'm not really sure what that. I'm sure it's volcanic something. I'll have to go look. This is the first time I've actually looked at this. This is after doing about maybe a half-hour research. I kind of found this, and I used it just so I could show you guys that there are different strengths of volcanoes, but also it ain't just about the plume height. It's about a lot of other things, because you're going to notice if you go through this that you're going to see that some of the bad ones, the bad ones, didn't even go as high as some of the ones that didn't cause a whole lot of issue. So I would encourage you guys to, if you want to know this right here, just go back earlier on my video here, and I went through this with everybody. So... yeah, for sure. So, and we're looking at this stuff, and again, inevitably you're going to have somebody say that this is all fake and all that kind of stuff, and, we can't trust any of this, and Okay, well, okay, go ahead. That's for you. If you don't want to think it's the truth, then... or if you don't want to take the information you're seeing, that's exactly what I tell people to go, well, what I'm showing you here, go look at it for yourself and do your own research. And that's really what I encourage. And, guys, I see so many people out there that really just jump out there and they start saying things. And they don't research it, is what I'm saying at all. So, I try to show people observations that I'm observing. And I tell you why I think I believe that is what it is. People come back at me and say they don't agree. They tell me why they don't agree. And a lot of times they got good points, but I may still not agree at the end of that. That's just what it is. Because I'm showing people the stuff that I think is true. And they're not going to agree with me all the time either. But I'm willing to say, okay, we don't agree. Let's go find something we both can agree on. And then maybe we can work together on something else to bring us both to a better understanding of the initial disagreement. That actually happens quite a bit. When people let that go, where they don't have to always be right. And they don't always have to take offense to being wrong. When somebody says something to you, you don't have to take offense if it's in a respectful way. I hope that I'm trying to show people that. I really am. I want people to see my observations. I want them to do research. I want to show them the tools that are actually out there available for them to go see. And sometimes I'm even wrong about what the tool is actually showing you. I've gotten a lot better. I'm pretty confident with what I say now on those tools. And I'm still wrong once in a while. And when somebody says, hey, you're wrong on this, and they tell me why, I'll go back and look, and I'll see if I have a better understanding, and then I adjust. That's just what happens. But I hope I'm showing people that it's okay to be wrong, number one. I hope I'm showing people that they need to go look at it for themselves, number two. Number three, I hope people are seeing that you don't have to tell people what to think. You don't have to tell them. People are smart. You show them the observation, show them your research, ask them to do their own, and they're smart enough that, guess what? If it's the truth, both of you guys will probably come up with the same conclusion. That's usually what happens. Now, again, I know that there's always going to be disagreements. There's going to be fights. I get all that. But it's at a minimum here on my channel, and I take pride in that because I want everybody to be able to have a place to come to see that it can be done a different way than beating somebody in the face with it. That's all. So anyway, this is one of those guys. Just go back on my, if you didn't get to see this the first time, go back earlier on here on the live stream. Maybe take some screenshots. You could probably just YouTube this too, I would think. Yeah, no kidding. Super volcanoes. I mean, yeah. Yeah, guys, and again, we have to understand, and that volcanoes is seismic activity. Volcanoes, earthquakes, all that kind of stuff is pretty much the same. They consider that the same activity, okay? Obviously, it's a different outcome and how it's releasing that pressure. But at the same time, we consider this seismic activity. They call it the Ring of Fire around the Pacific, the Pacific Rim there. And this is why. Because there's a bunch of earthquakes and volcanoes, hence the word fire. I mean, that's just what it is. And I didn't even know what VLF stands for until Ricky told me. That's very low frequency is what that stands for. And it's a direct precursor to earthquakes, massive shifting, massive plate shifting, I'm talking whole plates. Okay? So we have to understand how significant that is, because it is very significant. When we start talking about whole plates popping off, you see this? This is basically a plate. Okay? I'm not going to outline it directly. But when that whole area there, because all the magma and stuff underneath of it's moving and everything, it shifts, that's bad. Okay, look here. That just happened. The 4-6 in Vanuatu. Now, we got volcanoes over there too. Look here. Mexico. 4-6. This stuff is just now happening. This is happening right as we're talking. Okay? Again, now I find it very interesting when I see stuff like this. You see, if you look at the latitude position here, you see that. You can just, Hawaii's right there, and then this here is very close. It's about the same distance away from the equator, both of these are. I think the equator is right there. Now, I know that it doesn't rotate all the way across the earth like that. I get it. Most of the time it follows, the energy will go across the plate, but it doesn't typically have the same strength. Once that energy moves from here, if it did, I'm not saying this is what happened. If it moved from here to here, it ain't going to have the same strength when it gets over here. Not usually. Usually they downgrade it some. They use that in their prediction models and stuff like that. But you can tell, 5-1 here in the Pacific Rise. If I go back and I just add all of the earthquakes for today, That's where you actually start seeing where the activity's at. Okay, you're seeing all this stuff. Notice that this is something I've noticed too. We're not having a whole lot of stuff going on over here right now. I've been noticing that the past couple weeks. I think the energy's kind of shifted elsewhere. But, you know, the other thing there too is the fact that we, you know, that could not be good also. Sometimes we see this lull. They call it the quiet before the storm. We've all heard that, right? We'll see this little lull in activity, and then all of a sudden we'll get this big old earthquake somewhere. Now that there is in Iran, I think. Yeah, it's a 4.9 in Iran. These are all significant quakes, every bit of them, and they're still happening. Stuff's not slowing down. It's just, you know, we got a 4.6 there, and like I said, they're in Mexico just a few minutes ago, a 4.6. I find it interesting, though, that when we start seeing these things go across the globe, a lot of times they are roughly about the same size. It's very interesting. Yeah, Scan makes a good point there. You know, we do see quite a few in Oklahoma, and a lot of that stuff in Oklahoma, that's fracking operations most of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the times. See you, Nibby. Have a good one, man. All right, guys. I'm going to have to bounce out too, okay? Hope you guys have a good rest of the day. I know this live stream kind of went a little bit long. Listen, come back tomorrow night. I'm going to go on a little bit before Mark does. Mark Pyers. He's got his 700 show in a row. 700 days in a row he's been live streaming. Jarrett, good night, man. Listen, 700 days in a row is amazing, number one. So I'm going to try to go on a little bit before he does. I'll give an update and stuff. And let's all go over and have a good time after that. You know, Aunt Judy's most likely going to call in tomorrow. And Aunt Judy may even make a appearance visually. She's been wanting to get on there. She's been like, hey, Wages World, we need to get back over to Mark Pyers, as you know, Aunt Judy wants to talk. That's what she keeps telling me. Oh, yeah, we got Earthquake 3D too. You know, I have that right here. We can change the age. Let's do that. You know, we can look at this, guys. This is just another visual. This is what Dutch uses. This is what Ron uses. Everybody uses this. Basically, it just shows you a different visual. So, and I could put whatever settings I want in here. But, you know, I find it, you know, we can actually check this out. I can actually, like, click on that 4.2 right there. If I hit USGS, it'll take me right over there. So, I mean, it's a good tool. So, there's that. Now, let me, you can change all your settings. You see your settings here? That's the past 7 days. So, anyway, most of us have already seen this tool here. Let me get it over here, and I'll stop it right about there. And again, guys, that was, you know, the volcano was over here, so... Anyway, I am going to get off here, guys. God bless. Thanks to all my mods. Thanks to all my subscribers. Love all you guys. Please come back tomorrow, and we'll go over to Mark's after my live stream. Have a great time over there. Give him some love on his 700th day in a row. Thanks, body and soul. Good to see you. And also, guys, thank you guys so much for donating. I appreciate it so much. I can't tell you enough. Excuse me. Sorry. Of how much that guys, it really is. It does help me. I will say that. And I don't like to talk about it much. You guys know I don't. I don't even like doing what I'm getting ready to do here. I don't like putting, you know, my PayPal link is here. Let's do that. Put that there. Paste. Yeah, I got life just like everybody else, so I try not to bring my issues to everybody else. You know what I mean? Actually, tonight, believe it or not, I wasn't even going to bring this up, but anyway, seeing how we're having this kind of a conversation, we go out to go get some dinner for me and my family, and my garage door broke. It's crazy. It's stupid. I have like a 19 and a half foot garage door. It's solid wood. It's extremely heavy. Okay? It's an older garage door, but it's still in good shape, so I don't do much with it. But every once in a while, the springs have to be replaced because they break, and that's what happened last night. And believe it or not, guys, the springs for them things are like $200. You believe that stuff? Ain't that ridiculous? Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. I have to have two of them because my door is so big. But yeah. So anyway, there is my PayPal link. If you want to help, great. If not, no, I'm not. I don't even. I just like giving people credit for what they do. Like right here. These are all the people that have been donating. And I know it doesn't look very like professional there. That's why I don't like showing this one. I've been having issues getting time to do this kind of stuff. Also, guys, on the notification list, I'm going to be generating a list there to send out notifications. So just email me that you want to be on the notification list. Put it in the subject line, notification. That's all you got to put. I'll put you on a list, and before my videos, I'm going to start sending out notifications on my own to your emails. Because we can't trust YouTube to do it. They just don't do it like they should. And I know there's a lot of things on why and who does this and who does that. But what I've discovered, it's platform wide. It's not even genre specific. Typically, it's not even creator specific. Now I will say this: maybe it is genre specific sometimes, and even sometimes I guess creator specific. Depending on what you're talking about, if you're really getting over top of the truth, I do see them doing things sometimes. I do. I've seen them do it to a lot of people. But my point here is that generally, they don't do a very good job platform-wide sending out notifications. That's really what my point was. And I said all that. Oh, thank you for posting that, Bonnie and Soul. Appreciate that. And it does, there are people that do get targeted, okay? There are. We would all be ridiculous to think that they don't. Let me show you this before you guys leave. I was going to show you guys this yesterday and I forgot. Guys, check this out. I was so disgusted when I seen this. I go to watch. Let me tell you what show I was watching. Do you guys remember Rush Hour? The show Rush Hour. Right? You guys remember that show? Hope you guys do. Because I went to watch it and this popped on right before. You believe that? Yeah, pretty good shows, Dale. Exactly. They're hysterical. It's got Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan. This is what they put in there. Right before all of them. This film has outdated attitudes, language, and cultural depictions, which may cause offense today. Are you kidding me? We really have to say this before we watch a show? Are you serious? Are people that sensitive? It is ridiculous. This is actually a screenshot. Well, it's a picture I took off my own TV. You can tell because it's kind of angled. It's ridiculous. It made me so mad I shut it off. I wouldn't even watch it. I mean, I was upset. Yeah, exactly. See, Sherry Boo says it right there. Right? She wrapped it right up. Then you wouldn't watch it. If it was offending me, why would I watch it? It just, yeah, Snowflake Central, exactly. River Rain, yep, exactly, River Rain. Carolyn, you guys are all on it, man. I'm telling you, yeah, for real. I hate house repairs too. I've often thought, why don't I go back to renting? Then I ain't got to fix nothing. I appreciate that, Zyla. I really do. Yeah, I mean, you all get it. I knew you guys would get it. I really did. That's why I brought it to you guys. I thought you guys might appreciate that. Just the comedy behind all that, it makes me laugh, but it also ticks me off all at the same time. It's like, can we not laugh at ourselves anymore? Can we not laugh at other people that are doing things that we think is funny? I mean, and I knew that this was like this, at a pretty high level, but to go this far with it, I mean, they even got to do this. They got to put, like, if you go to any of, like, the Netflix or Disney Plus, any of that kind of stuff, they will put it in the top corner, and now even on cable, they will put in the top corner, like, this has smoking in it, or this or that. And we're not talking about smoking wacky weed. We're talking about smoking cigarettes. Now, I don't smoke. I'm against all that, 100%. But do I think it needs to be at the top of every show that somebody's smoking a cigarette on? No, I don't. Because they've already tamed that way down. Anyway. I'm talking like completely way down. And if do you really, does that TV station really think that little thing up there in the corner is going to deter some child from smoking? What's going to deter your child from smoking is you telling them how bad it sucks and showing it to them. It's the parents that need to do that, not the cable company. Just saying. So yeah. Yeah. Wow, Scan. That's hard. That's a hard one there, man. Sorry. Wow. Woo. That's a rough one there. Sorry you're going through that. Yeah, mine too. I'm going through the car issue too with my windows. I can't roll any of them down. Now, that's not keeping me from driving the thing, but it definitely is not. In the wintertime, it ain't so bad, but in the summertime, it sucks. Anyway, guys, I am going to get out of here. I've been saying that now for an hour. So, anyway, God bless. Love all you guys. Come back tomorrow. We're going to go over to some stuff, and then we'll go over to Mark's channel and hang out. He's 700 days in a row. That's something for him to be proud about, and that's something for us to celebrate. All right? So come back. Aunt Judy's probably going to make an appearance. So come back here, and then we'll go over to his channel later on after that. So, love you guys. God bless. Yahusha saves. And, oh, by the way, too, guys, if you want to help Scott and Dr. Albers, I should have done that. I forgot. Daggone it. Man. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to do that. Let me just do this real quick. Hope everybody hadn't left yet. Hang around here just for a second. Let me give you this. This is always in my description right now because Scott is needing the help. Dr. Albers is very, very sick. You guys know that she hadn't been able to make videos or anything. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all that, but she's got mercury poisoning from old teeth fillings, and it's actually leached into her system now, and it's made her very, very sick. So, if you guys want to help her out, help Scott out, you guys can go there and donate there. I know Scott appreciates it. I know Dr. Albers does too. So, if you guys can, I would even go, let me say this. If you have to choose between, like, donating to me right now or donating to that, please go over there and give it to them. That's just something I would say right now because she's, it's a hard thing to watch when you consider people friends like Scott and Dr. Albers is sick, and it's his wife. It's hard to watch, and it makes I really feel bad for him. That's all. So, you know, and after YouTube did its adpocalypse thing, you can't make very much money here, just so you know, unless you have other avenues like what we do here with the PayPal thing. So that's what I would say. He's actually running a restaurant right now too. He works like 12, 14 hours a day, and then does his thing with her, and still tries to do the research and videos that he always has done. And it's beating him down. So yeah, if you have to choose between either, you know, helping me out or helping her out right now, go over there and do that, please. So anyway, God bless. Yahushua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.